Hey guys, happy Monday. Thanks for stopping by for another video here at All I See Is W. In today's video, we'll be covering updates with Bitcoin. We'll be doing a deep dive analysis of strategy MSTR stock. Most of you are wondering how high is Bitcoin going to go in this cycle, along with strategy. What's the price forecast? Now, if you're new to this channel, I would first off really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. Let's begin, guys. Let's first off take a look at a post from the Bitcoin therapist. So he's posting that, my Q3, Q4 end of year prediction. He's saying MSTR $450 to 1,000 MSTR. And he's saying Bitcoin 120K to 180K. So very similar to my price forecast, where I was forecasting somewhere around that $1,000 MSTR. And, just with Bitcoin surpassing 120K already in the month of July, I was also saying that we will have that sweet spot of 180K to the upside of 200K, or even beyond that, 250K. Josh Mandel, he posts, FYI, I still hold the smattering except the MSTR calls. So Josh Mandel, he's been loading up on calls with strategy, with Metaplanet, you name it. You look at the expiration, he has it set to August 8th, 2025. And he has, call options, $540 call options. Just think about that. But he's going to be racking in because there's so much upside with the contracts he's already initiated. Bitcoin Archive posts Vanguard is now the biggest shareholder of Michael Saylor's strategy MSTR, but they won't offer Bitcoin to their customers. So why is it that Vanguard isn't buying Bitcoin or, embracing Bitcoin, just like how we see BlackRock buying up Bitcoin every day? Now, interesting thing is that Vanguard is the biggest holder of strategy. So are they just taking another strategy by just holding on to MSTR as a leverage with Bitcoin play? Only time will tell to see whether this will ultimately benefit Vanguard by, just having MSTR alone, or should they also be buying Bitcoin similar to what BlackRock is doing? Michael Saylor posts today strategy has acquired 4,225 Bitcoin at an average price of 111,000 Bitcoin. Now they've already got to their Bitcoin yield of 20.2% year to date in 2025. Now they have a HODL of 601,550, with an average cost of 71,000 per Bitcoin. I mean, strategy is winning right now. Why? One, they have the biggest HODL. Two, look at their cost average. I mean, they've been buying Bitcoin for the last 5 years, no matter the price. It was like 8,000, 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000, above 100,000. They've been just buying since the early days back in COVID, and this really puts them at the seat where they're the king right now. And Saylor has amplified the global game theory, getting more players to the table, which we've seen a number of companies just following the same playbook of strategy and buying Bitcoin all in 2025. Dr. Goose posts MSTR. I don't even know how to articulate how good this looks. What are we seeing on this chart? A lovely cup and handle formation. Right when we're at that, that handle phase, we're primed for a real big breakout. Let's take a look at technical analysis. So we're looking at Bitcoin, just with yesterday, today, it even got to like 123,000. Bitcoin's taking a slight pullback right now. It's currently at, 118,000. That's expected, especially with the relative strength, getting up to that 76, not super high, but it is in a state where it is at that level of getting overbought. And we're expecting for just some slight, pullback. But just with the strength of Bitcoin right now, even with the month of July, we may very well get beyond 125,000. With the rate that it's going, I wouldn't be surprised if it even breaks through 130,000. So it'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin plays out. But ultimately, what we're seeing, the strength in Bitcoin, it can continue to climb up with a slight pullback with current price action. With Bitcoin at all-time highs. I mean, what does this mean for strategy? I mean, the good news is even though we saw Bitcoin taking a dip during the market open, strategy held its course. It remained strong and it ended today in the stock market with close to 4% gain. What does that tell us? There's some decoupling going on, and anytime when Bitcoin goes up, strategy also goes up. We know that when Bitcoin goes up, MSTR has a higher throughput in terms of volatility, but even today, when Bitcoin took a pullback, strategy continued to go up. So that's a good sign. What does that tell us? MACD, we see that intersection on the 12 to 26 day crossing. Also, relative strength, slightly increasing, not extremely overbought or anything, but we're seeing it, trend in the right direction. What are we seeing? It's just prime for a breakout. I think with MSTR, it's been coiled up for so long, in this consolidation phase, in the cup formation, and now in this handle formation. We're looking for a potential short squeeze. Let's take a look at the weekly candle. As we look at the daily, you see this formation on the MACD histogram. As we switch over, we're beginning to see it flip the switch with more weekly MACD green histograms. That's a good sign and relative strength, on the weekly. The last time when it had a big RSI was back in November 2024. I think that it's just ready for a squeeze. And if it does squeeze, let's say Bitcoin makes a run up, we may very well see MSTR by end of year all the way up to $1,000. That's my forecast. Let's say Bitcoin gets to 180, 200K. We're looking at that $1,000 range. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what your comments are, where you're watching from, what your price prediction of Bitcoin and MSTR is. Thanks again. I'll talk to you on the next one. Take care, guys. Which is